This visualization illustrates a staggering modern reality. Today, there are somewhere between 75 and 100 million AK-47s scattered across the globe. That breaks down to roughly 1 for every 60 people on Earth. That immense volume translates to a devastating human cost. Each year, injuries inflicted by an AK-47 result in an estimated 250,000 deaths. The weapon has spread so deeply into the global consciousness that it has evolved past its original purpose to become a political symbol. The flag of Mozambique, a country in southern Africa, features the distinct outline of an AK-47 right in its center. To understand how a single piece of hardware reached this level of total global saturation, we have to look at the specific engineering choices that enabled it to move across every border. During World War II, the Soviet Army faced a massive technological deficit. Their forces, largely equipped with outdated bolt-action rifles, found themselves severely outgunned by German troops wielding rapid-fire automatic weapons. While recovering in a hospital from a shoulder wound, a young Russian tank mechanic named Mikhail Kalashnikov saw this disparity firsthand. He realized the Soviets needed a completely new class of weapon, something suitable for a largely unrefined peasant conscripted army. Kalashnikov faced a brutal engineering tension. He had to design a rifle that was devastatingly effective in combat, yet simple enough to be mass-produced by the millions in Soviet factories. He didn't start from scratch. Instead, Kalashnikov created a hybrid system. He borrowed the concept of the assault rifle from recent German designs like the STG-44 and combined it with the highly reliable gas-operated mechanics found in American rifles like the M1 Garand. This animated diagram breaks down the result, the long-stroke gas piston system. When a cartridge is fired, the expanding propellant gases are vented into a cylinder above the barrel. That gas pressure physically drives a large metal piston backward, which automatically ejects the spent casing and loads the next round. But look closely at the animation. The gaps you see around that piston mechanism are intentional. Kalashnikov designed the system with incredibly generous, loose clearances between the moving metal parts. This sloppy fit means foreign debris like mud, sand, and carbon can simply fall through the weapon's internal spaces. Decades later, highly precise, tightly machined Western rifles would frequently jam when exposed to the fine sand of environments like Iraq and Afghanistan. The AK's moving parts, however, just kept cycling. By intentionally embracing loose tolerances, the designers guaranteed unmatched reliability in the harshest environments on Earth. That philosophy of ruggedness extended to the human elements of the gun. The magazines, for instance, were machined from a single steel billet, over-engineered to the point where soldiers could literally use them as hammers without breaking the feed lips. This schematic reveals the layout of the fire selector lever. In the heat of combat, a soldier is likely to push the lever down with extreme force. Kalashnikov placed the semi-auto setting at the very bottom of that travel, forcing the shooter to pass through full auto first. It is a physical stop designed to prevent a panicked recruit from instantly emptying their magazine. However, building millions of these weapons was initially a failure. Early attempts to stamp the rifle's main body out of thin sheet metal resulted in unacceptably high rejection rates at the factory. The Soviets were forced to pivot to a much heavier, more expensive milled steel receiver just to keep production moving. It wasn't until 1959 that manufacturing techniques finally caught up with the design. The introduction of the modernized ATM model perfected the use of a lightweight, stamped sheet metal receiver held together by simple rivets. By standardizing the stamped metal process, the Soviets removed the final manufacturing hurdle. This transition turned the rifle from a heavy military tool into a low-cost, mass-produced commodity. Under Soviet military doctrine, equipment was treated as disposable. The AK-47 wasn't built to be a multi-generational heirloom. It had an expected service life of just 6,000 to 15,000 rounds before it was cheaper to simply throw it away and issue a new one. Because they were so cheap to build and distribute, global superpowers soon exploited the rifle. During the Cold War, millions of AKs were funneled into proxy conflicts, arming insurgent groups and irregular forces from Afghanistan to Central America. The sheer volume produced an uncontrollable logistical nightmare. During the U.S. occupation of Iraq between 2004 and 2005, the Pentagon completely lost track of roughly 110,000 AK-47 assault rifles that had been designated for Iraqi security forces. This massive oversupply fueled a deeply saturated black market. In areas of active conflict, the price of an AK-47 drops in tandem with the chaos, sometimes selling for as little as $10. That combination of disposable design and rock-bottom manufacturing cost birthed a shadow economy that far outlasted the Soviet Union itself. Yet, despite designing the most globally distributed firearm in history, Mikhail Kalashnikov never earned a fortune from its sales. The Soviet state owned the intellectual property. He lived on standard Soviet wages. In his final years, he relied on licensing his name to vodka brands and making celebrity appearances at international arms shows just to make ends meet. He designed a simple tool to defend his country. But the result of that efficiency was a weapon that spread far beyond his borders, outlasting the state that commissioned it, and ultimately remaining beyond any central authority's control.